Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. We have one of my favorite people in the entire community here. Our library executive director, Andrea Berstler, is here. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you for having me back, Greg.
Now, it's budget time in the county.
It is budget time in the county.
And my experience as someone who's covered budgets for 40 years now is that the library is like the last thing that anyone thinks about in the budget process. And I've always just thought that was wrong. So can you talk to me about your budget and what we can do to fund the library in a better way? Because I just know that we don't fund the library the way that we should.
It's true. The library is one of those things that everybody counts on and relies on and wants to make sure is there. But when it comes to the budget, it's sort of like, oh yeah, we need to give the library some money too, don't we? I guess they have to pay bills as well.
But why is it and it's not just in this community.
No, it's not. It's overall.
And it's taken for granted.
It does. And I think it's because libraries are very good at taking whatever it is they're given and making it go much further than it ought. They're creative and they're inventive. I have a wonderful staff.
And librarians are all very polite.
We try. We do. Most of us are anyway. But back to your original question, as far as helping the library, it is true that libraries tend to be underfunded generally. In Wacomico County, that's very true, and it's rather stark. The overall funding for the last year we have statistics, which is fiscal year 15, Wacomico County is dead last in funding its library based on a per capita level, which is the best way to compare libraries. Because some libraries, like Somerset, only have 37,000 people they're serving. And of course, if you get across the bridge, you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. So you can't compare dollar for dollar. That's just not the way to do it. So libraries take it and we divide it out per capita. So for every man, woman, and child in the county, how much money is that library getting to serve them? The range is pretty dramatic in Maryland. It goes from $74 a person in Hartford County, which is phenomenal.
Right.
All the way down to basically $25 a person, and that's here in Wacomico County. So for the cost of one book is really how we're kind of running our library. And
now, is that the money that comes from the county coffers or all your revenue sources?
That's all the revenue sources together. So that's the county money. We get money from the state. We write grants, and we get money from that. We raise money internally for the overdue fines that people pay us and the copies they pay for. And then we get donations. Our friends give us donations, and people in the community give us donations, and we really appreciate those. We total that all up, and it comes out to just about $25 a person.
What does the county contribute?
The county, for fiscal year 15, the county's contribution was about $11.14 a person. And that's really, unfortunately, where the problem lies. When you compare our state numbers with what we get from the state per person, with all the other libraries in the state, we are number 4. There's 3 libraries that get more from the state per person than we do. And then we get about $9.15, which is pretty good for state funding. And they drop all the way down to about $3 a person for some of the wealthier counties. But with the county contribution, counties are charged with funding the library. That's in Comar. And they're supposed to be carrying the bulk of this weight. Wacomico County hasn't traditionally done real well for its library. And back in 2008, when the economy, of course, plummeted into this abyss, our budget was cut by 60% from the county. We have never recovered from that. We are
even cut hours. The library was closed.
We cut hours. We took the bookmobile off the road. We laid off almost a quarter of our staff. We threatened to cut the branches, but we didn't have to do that, thankfully. And we've been slowly sort of crawling our way back out of this hole. But if you compare the dollars we got in 2008, or were budgeted to get in 2008, with the dollars we got even just last year, we are still not back to the 2008 dollar level. And yet we're serving another 13, 15,000 people
Plus
that
10
have
years
added.
inflation.
Exactly, plus 10 years of inflation, plus the new technology, which of course is always a little more expensive. So we're really not, we're actually still losing ground in a lot of ways. And we don't like to complain about it because we know that everybody's had a tough
You're
economy.
polite. You're polite.
We are polite, but after 10 years, we think it's time for there to be a restoration of funds. And so our budget ask this year is that the county give us the same buying power we should have had in 2008. So take the 2008 number, adjust it for inflation, and that's what we're asking them for. To keep that in perspective, what that will do is move us from the worst funded library per capita to the next to the last funded library per capita. It moves us up one place. You know, if you compare us to Worcester County, which is, you know, it's kind of an oddity because Worcester gets all the tourist money and,
Right.
and the casino money, and we get that. But Worcester County's funding its libraries at $54 a person, and we're at half that. So there's no way we can keep up with the technology that they have and the new buildings. I mean, they're putting a new building in at Berlin. And the staff, we can't provide as much staff as they do. We can't buy as many books as they do. And we'd like to, we really would. We think the people of Wacomico County deserve that excellent library service that we could be offering them. But it's pretty dramatic when you look at the numbers and you start comparing them across the state.
In my work, I have a laptop and I move around a lot to write stories remotely, and I use all the libraries. I have to say, in Worcester, the Little Berlin Library was always my favorite because there was never anyone there, so it was like my own little office. And they're building a great big new library right next to it. Ocean Pines Library was very busy, very vibrant. But other than Ocean Pines, none of the Worcester libraries had the attendance that the Salisbury Library has, the downtown library. That place is vibrant. There's stuff going on there. There's people that are using all the equipment.
All day, yes.
You know, they're in the stacks. They're, you know, using the electronic stuff. There's people in the meeting rooms. You've got the business center. It is a really important part of the community.
It is. We estimate that between all the branches that we have in the bookmobile, we see about 300,000 visits every year. The downtown library accounts for about 250,000 of those. And it's, you know, we're averaging 350 people a day in that building between the ones you see upstairs and the ones who come in and are visiting Warwick's classes downstairs or using the meeting rooms. It is the hub. We consider ourselves the anchor store for the downtown community in a lot of ways. People come downtown to go to the library.
Yeah.
And while they're there, they might have lunch at a restaurant or grab a cup of coffee or you know, take care of some business that they have at the government office building. But they come downtown to see us. And we are polite and we try not to blow our own horns too much. But this year, after 10 years, we think it's maybe time for us to start, you know, creating a little fuss and saying, you know, it's time for the library to get a little respect, and it's time for the library to get a little funding.
So as we head into public hearings and that kind of stuff, what is there a strategy on your part, or you just want to get people motivated somehow?
Well, we'd like to get them motivated, and we've you know, taken out some of the really important pieces of this. The most important one, of course, is that here we are 10 years later, and we still haven't even gotten back to that funding, let alone adjusted for inflation. The other piece is that library use is going back up. Our door counts are going back up. The use of our website is going up. We have a lot more digital offerings now. Everything we have in the branch, we have online. We have audiobooks online and e-books online, you know, so we can reach a broader audience without ever having to build that library for them. It's there. It's digital. So what we're asking people to do is to go out to the public meetings and just tell their story about how important the library is to them, how important it is to their children, how important it is to their business, their nonprofit, whatever it is. Because we get that funding, we can open more hours and we can offer a few more services and we can do a little more for the community.
Right, yeah. Is there like a list of like, if I'm going to support this, that what we might get in return?
Absolutely, yeah. It'll all be posted on our Facebook page and on the website in the next day or two. And we'll get that out there. And a lot of our friends and people who get our newsletter digitally will also be getting copies of that in their emails.
I'm impressed with how accessible the library is, how it's so convenient with the parking there. You get the 2 hours for free, which is great. And I love in the parking garage now.
Yep, 3 hours for free.
Cut that little slot there, and there's reserved parking in the garage. What a great asset that is.
It's wonderful, and it's maybe an extra 5 steps
Yeah.
from parking lot 1 to the parking garage. And if you bring your parking garage ticket in, you get 3 hours for free. We'll stamp it and validate it for you, and you can go downtown, you can come in, visit the library, go grab a bite to eat, and still park for free.
Yeah. So if it's raiding or stowing, you got no. You can go right in there. It's undercover and it's right there.
Absolutely, yeah. We were really glad to work with the city on that one. They cut that access into the parking garage there for our use for the library visitors to use.
Yeah, really cool. How many people have library cards?
Right now, we have about 52% of the population of Wacomico County that have library cards. That includes people who came in and got cards, the traditional, the bright red library cards that we have, and also every student in Wacomico County from 1st grade to 12th grade. We were able to work a really nice partnership with the public schools and provide access for all of their students to have public library cards. They can get into our databases, they can come borrow a few books, they can use the computers. It was a win-win for both of us. So yeah, that's part of that group. But we've about 52, maybe 53% right now who are
What's a
holding
library
cards.
card cost?
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
Absolutely nothing. If you live,
I feel like
work,
I paid 75 cents for the last one I
was
had.
probably your overdue fines. No, if you lose your card, we ask you to pay $1 for the new card.
Okay.
But to get a library card is completely free. If you live, work, or do business, go to school in Wacomico County, it's completely free. If you live in Maryland, it's free. Maryland has a reciprocal card program, so anywhere in Maryland, if you come here, we'll give you a free card.
I don't think people know that. That's good to know.
They don't. And the other really cool thing about your card is it actually works in all 8 counties on the shore now. We have a brand new consortium that we started last fall. And so when you look on our catalog online, what you're looking at is not just the holdings of the Wacomico Library. You can look at the holdings for Talbot County and Queen Anne's County and Kent County, from Kent all the way down to Somerset, and borrow items from any of those libraries. So we have doubled or even tripled the amount of items that are available to a lot of the people in this community.
It's funny. I was just talking to my daughter yesterday about the library, and she had been doing some work at the New Commons, the Academic Commons, and was so impressed with that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Completely
Oh, my
different
word, yes.
kind of facility. But there's some book that's real popular among the high school students right now, and it's like American Gods or. There's one copy at the library, and she knows the kid who has it. So everyone every day is asking this kid, when are you going to take it back? Because they want to be
The next person to get it.
And she's like, Dad, why do they only have one copy? I was like, well, first of all, I think they probably don't only have one copy. And everything's available electronically anyway. So, you don't need to, you're thinking like 1960 style. But it's possible there's only one copy, but it just showed me how important the library was to this clique of kids who want to read this book.
Absolutely. Well, they should stop by. We've got multiple copies of that one. And I think we have it online too. But yeah, we get used to thinking about libraries in certain ways. And a lot of people think about the library, they think about a place that just stores books. And we do that. I mean, we've thousands of titles stored in our downtown library. But we're not limited to that anymore. We've got this whole online thing that we're telling her about. You can get your book online. Just log in and download it. And we have all the databases online. But we also have all these programs that we provide in-house and we take to the community. We've got Job Search Center that helps people get employed.
That place is busy in there.
All the time.
And there's someone there to help these people use the computer and question them about what their skill sets might be. It's a very interactive thing, and it's just such a positive thing to look at.
It is. And the people who work there they're wonderful. They are very tuned to working one-on-one, okay, pardon the pun, but one-on-one with each individual who comes in. If they need help with their resume, they get it. If they need help preparing for an interview, they get it. They want to set up an email address because almost everything's online. We can do that. They'll print things up. It's amazing. Just any kind of service that they need to get a job or improve their job.
Yeah.
And then we have homework help where the kids come in and they get free help with their homework. They have free tutoring. They get all the supplies they need. It's a completely, we don't ask any questions. We don't really wonder why they don't have the supplies. We just make them available.
I hadn't thought about the homework help in a while.
Yeah.
That used to be a really big thing. We used to talk about that a lot more, and I forgot about that.
No, it's still running. The numbers are still climbing. We have math tutors who come in one night a week and help with all of this Common Core math, which seems to befuddle the parents.
Right.
And the kids come in, and we can tell when project season is in the schools because it gets busier. We're starting to pick back up here now. As from now to the end of the school year, it'll get real busy. But we're seeing 20, 30 kids a night who come in and they pick up supplies and they get online and they use the computers. And it's dynamic and it's energetic, but it's also very focused. There's no gaming there.
Right.
There's no noise. There's no distractions. It's just homework.
Yeah. The county's made a commitment to you in the capital budget for something really exciting.
Very exciting.
A branch in Pittsville.
Yes, a real branch in Pittsville.
A real branch.
It's like being a real boy.
You have a beautiful trailer there now.
We do. It's an 8-year-old trailer. It's a modular, very similar to the ones the schools use. But
you're going to get a real library.
We have high hopes for that. Yes. In 2021, we are slated to break ground, do the land development, get the drawings done.
Will it be right where it is now?
No, we can't build it on the school doesn't have enough property for us to put up a real building. So we're going to be looking for a piece of land near where we're at now. We don't want to move too far because people know where we're at and they can find us. And we're looking at putting in about an 8,000 square foot real branch library for Pittsville. And it'll serve Pittsville and Willards and Parsonsburg and that side of our county. Plus, there will be people who live in Worcester County who also come in that way. That's their commute for work.
Yeah, Whaleyville, Powellville.
Exactly. And what we want it to be is a community center. We want to have a good, strong library, some meeting room space, place for after-school activities, a little computer tutoring, all the things that the community is using the library for now, but just a little bigger and a little nicer.
Right.
It's time. They've been out there for 12 years in trailers. And the community uses that library. It's continuing to grow. And they've added more programs, and they constantly loaning out more books. And it's time for them.
I've never been in, but there's always cars around it.
Always. And there's only 5 parking spots, which is the other problem.
Right.
So, if your car's 6, you're in trouble.
No, people park in the grass and stuff. I mean,
there you go. People park along the street.
Yeah.
It's, and so it's a good thing, and it's a great place for the community.
So have you ever opened a new branch before?
Personally,
as a leader?
I have not. No, I'm really excited about
test for
this.
you?
Yes, it will be. It'll be a learning experience. But several of my coworkers, several of my peers here on the shore have opened new branches. Of course, in Worcester County, they're opening the new Berlin branch, and so I'll be able to use that. And down in Crisfield, of course, they opened the Crisfield Library, which is gorgeous.
Very nice place.
And the new director down there was responsible for opening the new Lewis Library.
Okay.
So we've got experience at hand. And the people in the county have built buildings, and the people in the Board of Ed have built buildings. So it's not that we're doing this on an island. And I'm real excited about it because I think Pittsville needs this. This is something that community has needed for a while.
Yeah, I never really thought of the Pittsville people when they wanted a library going to Salisbury, they might go to Berlin.
Yes, they very well might. But either way, it's a long drive. And if they don't want to come downtown, it's really difficult. There's no convenient, we have a lack of library services in the community. There are communities that should have libraries that don't.
We've talked about this. Is interesting because there is just the one branch.
Well, there's 2.
One
in the mall.
You have the one at the mall.
One in the mall.
But in the classic little community, like the Delmar Library or whatever, it's just Sharptown doesn't have one.
No, and we're looking at the Sharptown, Mardella Springs, Hebron area for a branch. We'd love to put one there. We'd also like to see one down in Fruitland. The Fruitland community continues to grow.
Right.
I think there's more plans for more developments down there in the future. And they should have a library. They've got the school and Bennett's down there now, and they need a library to go along with that growing community. So we've got places that we've looked at and said we should have library service here. It's just a matter of convincing the county that this is a priority,
Right.
and getting in line, so to speak, along with the new schools that they have to build, to make sure that libraries, as their partner in education, are also built along with these schools.
Right. It seems to me, and I don't know if this is true, but it seems to me that 10 years ago there was that sort of thought process that libraries weren't going to be needed anymore. We would do everything online from our homes, and we don't need like a community center kind of thing. And that seems to have been proven untrue, that libraries have sort of
Dramatically.
rebounded.
Dramatically. Oh my goodness, yes. When I went to college to get my first master's degree and become a real librarian, I had someone who pulled me aside and said, have you thought this one out? Because,
Right.
I don't think we're going to need libraries in 10 years. And the fact of the matter is that what you're saying is exactly true. We are busier now in many ways than we were then. People need.
But you've also diversified.
We have diversified, and we.
I mean, for me in the old days, it was like, hey, I need this. There's the card stack. There's the card catalog right there.
Yeah.
And that was it. But now there's so many things that are offered. But go ahead, I cut you off.
No, that's quite all right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You're right on point there. We do a lot more, but information and the way information is spread out has also diversified. It used to be that all the information was in a book, so we collected books. Well, now it's in a book, and it's online, and it's a digital graphic, and it's an image, and some people have it in their heads, and so we bring people in, and we have programs, and we have the online databases because we want to make the information accessible. So what we do, I tell people, what we do is really not changed, but how we do it has changed almost 180 degrees. But we love it. We love the diversification. It keeps our jobs interesting. It provides a challenge. And it also makes sure that the people who may get left behind because of new technology or because of new interfaces, like all those government forms that are now online, anyone who doesn't have a computer doesn't have access to those anymore. So we're here. We'll go. Come on in. We'll get it for you. We'll find it. And it's what we do is find things. People can't find it. We find it for them.
Talk about Lights for Literacy. That's coming up.
Yes.
That's one of your big events. Like, it's very exciting.
It is. It's really exciting. This is our 6th Light of Literacy
Really?
breakfast. Yes,
Wow.
it's hard to believe. And we have some really incredible nominees this year.
Well, first of all, what is it?
The Light of Literacy is an awards breakfast where we acknowledge individuals in the community who are doing really impressive and impactful work on the lines of literacy. And we have a very broad definition of literacy. It's not only helping people learn to read, which is the basic, but helping people learn to use technology, helping people learn to handle their finances and use health information and teach their children how to read. So these are all literacies we try and cultivate. So the people in the community who are doing this kind of work, whether it's volunteer or whether it's their job, are nominated for these awards. And at the breakfast, we acknowledge all the nominees. We get them to stand up. We give them a round of applause. And then we give out awards for individuals whose work just is outstanding. And this year, our focus is going to be a little on the health literacy side.
Okay.
Last year, we did technology literacy,
Right.
and we talked a lot about that. So this year, it's health literacy, and we're really pleased that Stephen Leonard, who's the new CEO of PRMC, will be our keynote speaker this year.
Excellent.
So yeah, we're real excited to have him on board. We know that PRMC is our partner in health literacy in the community and trying to educate people about how to ask your doctor questions
Right.
and what are the questions you should ask them. So that'll be part of that, and that'll also kick off the 1-month-long Salisbury Book Festival. And we'll be doing a community reads program and a book drive just like we did last year.
And that was very successful last year.
It was huge, wildly successful. We were
kind of changed the way you had done it before.
buried alive.
Yeah.
We had over 10,000 books donated last year.
Yeah.
And we sorted them out, the ones we were able to give to children and the ones we were given to adults. We wound up, some of them we couldn't give away. There were some donations of textbooks and that sort of thing that we can't use. But the rest of them, we gave out over 9,000 books last year to different community organizations. So we'll be doing that. That kicks off that morning as well. And we're real excited about that. We're doing that with lots of partners in the community. United Way, Rec and Parks, Salisbury's Promise over at SU, Eastern Shore Writers Council, some really great organizations who are helping with that.
If I wanted to go to the Lights of Literacy, when is it?
The Light of Literacy, April 19th, it's a Thursday morning, it starts at 8 a.m. We are always done by 10. It's at the Civic Center in the Midway Room.
Okay.
And you can get tickets online. The website is lightofliteracy.org.
And I always say lights.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that win the awards, so they're all lights.
That's true. And we call them luminaries. but it is Light of Literacy.
And at the Civic Center, for people like me, the bacon is always good there.
Oh, the food has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, the bacon is extremely excellent.
But that'll get me there at 8 o'clock.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there that early in the morning. I'll even have coffee ready for you.
But you'll have those outdoor reading events again?
Yes. Yeah. We'll do the block party, which is in May, which is the outdoor.
And last year, I don't think the weather was bad. It was just windy.
It was really windy that day.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We're going to do it again. We'll have the bounce house again, and we're planning on a dunk tank. We've got a few celebrities who are going to be in our dunk tank.
Excellent.
That'll be a lot of fun. And we have celebrity readers who are going to come and read, and we'll have Cascading Carlos the Juggler and some food trucks, and it'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be May 19th, and that'll end the book festival.
Right.
That's 10 to 2, and it's downtown right next to the library.
Now, last year there was a recommended book that everyone read?
Yes.
It was
yes.
the Harriet Tubman.
Oh, the Underground Railroad.
Underground Railroad
yes,
thing,
Colson
yes.
Whitehead's version of
Yes,
the Underground Railroad
exactly.
is a phenomenal read.
Very imaginative book.
It was. This year we've gone with a nonfiction book, and you're the first one I'm going to announce this on publicly.
Scoop.
But this year's one read book will be Hillbilly Elegy.
The guy from, the reporter guy who
Yes,
wrote about his family.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
Yes.
And so that will be the one read, and we'll have copies of it available in the library for people to pick up. We're encouraging book groups to read it and discuss it. And also just
Fascinating book. Very
work
serious
group,
book.
Very serious book, but with
Very
a really
alarming book.
A really unique sense of humor
Yes.
that goes along in there. And it tells an awful lot about the Ozark culture and the hillbilly culture, not in a derogatory manner, but absolutely.
It's very matter of fact the way he writes it.
Very matter of fact.
Yeah.
And the Rust Belt and the story of the Rust Belt, and that was really interesting.
Yeah, and you can see some elements of it around here.
Absolutely. Yeah, the withdrawal of manufacturing and the loss of those jobs. And yes.
And the opioid use and alcoholism and
that's why
it sounds
we
like it's
picked
all
it.
negative, but I don't mean to be all negative.
No,
but
but that's why we picked it, was because the themes that were in there were ones we felt that the people in the community could relate to and would want to discuss and talk about.
Well, okay, I want to help you in your budget time. What should I do?
Well, if you can, come out to the executive's budget hearing, which is March 24th,
Right.
At 6 o'clock in the Flanders Room at the Civic Center, and just tell why the library is important to you and why it's important that we fund the library and we restore the funding that was cut from back in 2008. If you can't get there, if you can't make it, write to the executive and the county council and tell them the story that way, and tell them how the library is important to you, how the library is important to your family or your business, your kids, your grandkids, and why it is that it's time, after 10 years, to restore funding to the library.
And there will be some county council budget hearings.
There will be.
Into late May and June.
They're a little later down the road.
Right.
But if we can't get the funding in before it's proposed to the county council,
Correct.
they can't add any money to it.
Right.
So it's really important that we speak up now while the budget's being constructed, and let the executive know that the library really is important to this community.
Right, and they read their emails there at the executive's office.
They
so
do.
yeah,
They
so
do.
all you have to do is just let people know what you're thinking.
Or give them a call and tell them just that the library is important and you want to see the funding restored.
She's Andrea Berstler. She's got a tough job trying to get us all focused and educated and smart. She keeps all the knowledge there at the library downtown. Thank you for being here today.
You're very welcome, Greg. I always enjoy it.
Thank you. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of One-on-One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.